Let me ask you initially, on that day, June 26, were you able to definitively state a cause of death?
No.
And why not?
There wasn't anything obvious in the history or the autopsy examination that showed a cause of death.
Okay. Let me ask you about the general health of Mr. Jackson as related by you and your findings in the autopsy report. Generally speaking, how would you characterize the overall health of Mr. Jackson based on your autopsy findings?
I believe that he was healthier than the average person of his age.
And in your initial summary of findings, were there incidental findings that you made as to general conditions or health issues you identified regarding Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
And what were some of those findings, please?
He had an enlargement of the prostate gland, which meant that it was difficult to urinate, so he was retaining urine.
Okay.
He had vitiligo, which is a skin disorder. And then he also had...
Is that vitiligo, that's the depigmentation of the skin where, for example, an African American might have white splotches of skin?
Yes.
Okay.
And he had a polyp of his colon. And then we also sent portions of the autopsy to specialists in various areas. So the nervous system showed mild diffuse swelling. The lung examination showed some chronic inflammation and scarring in the lungs. The radiology examination showed an extra rib and also some arthritis. And then we did a dental examination which showed that there had been some root canal therapy and implant therapy. And we also did an anesthesiology consultation.
All right. And were there observations made as to a previous injury sustained in the scalp area?
Yes.
Dr. Rajesh, you can help me out a little bit. For purposes of our internal sound system, we may not be picking up everything. So if you could speak a little bit louder, it'll help us out in court. Thank you.
And regarding the scalp, what was observed?
There was an area of irregular pigmentation at about the top of the scalp.
Were you aware that his scalp had caught on fire many years prior?
Yes.
And that was through filming of a commercial where there was an accident that took place?
Yes.
Now, when you conducted this autopsy, did you note the height and weight of Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
And how tall was he and how much did he weigh, please?
He was 5'9" and weighed 136 pounds.
And What is the body mass index?
That's a single number that you can calculate from height and weight to give you a general idea of whether the person is underweight, normal weight, or overweight.
And with Mr. Jackson's height, his weight being 136 pounds, where did he fall on the body mass index?
He was within the normal range.
He was, however, a very thin individual. Is that fair to say? Or a thin individual?
Yes, he was thinner than most, I believe.
But according to the body mass index, he fell within what would be described as normal.
That's correct.
And was a photograph or photographs taken documenting Mr. Jackson's general physical condition on that date, which also shows his general weight of his body, at least visually?
Yes.
And I have a photograph taken at the time of autopsy. Defense in the court has previously seen it. It has been blacked out in the genital area, Your Honor. May this be marked People's 206 for identification?
Yes.
Dr. Rogers, showing you what's been marked as People's 206 for identification, does this bear the coroner's case number 209-04415?
Yes.
And this was taken on June 26, 2009?
Well, I'm having a little trouble reading the number. It may either be the 26th or the 25th.
Actually, what is that date reference?
Well, to me that looks like 6/25/2009.
Actually, looks like the wrong date is on there. Looks like 8/25/2009, doesn't it?
Well, it does look a little bit like an 8.
Was this a picture taken of Michael Jackson's, at the time of Michael Jackson's autopsy, bearing the number 2009-04415?
Yes.
And does this accurately depict his body and visually depict his weight on the date of June 26, 2009 when you conducted the autopsy?
Yes.
Now, in regard to your evaluation of the internal organs of Mr. Jackson, I'd like to ask you about his heart. Were you able to draw conclusions related to his heart, whether he had any heart disease and things of that nature?
He did not have heart disease.
Were there any abnormalities noted by you regarding his heart?
No.
Did you make any observations regarding his coronary arteries?
The coronary arteries did not show any atherosclerosis.
Was that unusual?
In this context, yes.
What do you mean by that in this context?
Well, he was 50 years old. At the age of 50, almost everybody has some atherosclerosis in their coronary arteries, but he didn't have any.
What is atherosclerosis?
That's a buildup of fat and cholesterol on the walls of the blood vessels.
Okay, and Mr. Jackson did not have any buildup of this fat or cholesterol on the walls. Is that accurate?
Yes, in the heart.
In the heart, and that was unusual based on his age.
Yes.
Was that a factor that led you to conclude that, generally speaking, he was a healthy individual for his age?
Yes.
Now, did you observe any trauma or any natural disease in conducting your autopsy that would have led you to conclude that that was a cause of death?
No.
Did you make observations regarding his esophagus?
Yes.
And was his esophagus intact throughout?
Yes, it was.
Did you see any white liquid substance in either his stomach, his throat, his esophagus, or his mouth?
No.
Could we have an explanation of what is an esophagus, please?
Dr. Rogers, what is an esophagus?
The esophagus is the tube that connects the mouth with the stomach, so when you swallow, that's what the food goes through.
From the mouth down to the stomach?
Yes.
And it was intact and that you did not observe any milky fluid in the esophagus?
That's correct.
Or in the stomach?
That's also correct.
Did you also, Doctor, examine the stomach in detail to determine if you could find any pill tablets or pill capsules of any kind in the stomach?
Yes, I did.
And what were your findings in regard to the contents of the stomach as it related to any pills or tablets of any nature?
The stomach contained 70 grams of dark fluid, but did not show pills or capsules.
And was that something specifically you were looking for in this case to determine if oral administration of pills or tablets could have been a potential for the cause of death?
Yes.
I have just one moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
Now, did you also, Dr. Rogers, check the mouth and upper airway for any foreign material or things of that could have been in the mouth or oral airway?
Yes.
And when I say oral airway or upper airway, what does that mean?
It means the entrance to the breathing passages, so it would be through the mouth and down the throat into the windpipe.
All right. And the trachea, what is that?
That is also known as the windpipe.
All right. So did you check the mouth and upper airway and trachea for any type of foreign material?
Yes.
Did you find any?
No.
Now, in conducting your autopsy then on this initial date of June 26, 2009, you indicated you were not on that day able to determine the cause of death, correct?
That's correct.
Did you request subsequent toxicology testing to be done to assist you in determining the cause of death?
Yes.
And did you also seek out